All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Big boy slate Gyiraszin. Buckle in. 12 games. I don't think we've seen a slate at pitching as hard as it is. I mean, Hunter Brown is going to be mega chalk. I think Hunter Green is also the battle of the Hunters. Hunter Green's going to be pretty popular. Outside of those two, it is tough. That means bats, good amount of them. It's very hot across the country, as most days are this time of year. Looking at weather quick, I see one yellow-orange. I always look for orange or worse. Yellow-orange, Dodgers, White Sox. I see yellow first, then orange. I'm expecting all games to play. Of course, monitor weather as always. Hope everybody out there doing well. Ben, Ryan, Michael, Gang, Gator Nation. Like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. Gyiraszin, how you doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon?
Yeah, can't complain. You're right. We got an interesting slate here in front of us, but man, don't we got the big golf championship going on this week here in Detroit? So, hey, got to give a shout out to our boys, Hoop and Tambo. Good luck in that. Like I said, Hoop's taking this shit down, boy. He don't have to leave his county. It's over, man. So
you gonna be there? You gonna be there?
You know, I don't know. I got all kinds of shit going on this week. Today, actually, after I leave here, I'm going to the local carny, get some carny food, have some high noons, you know, Get a carny dinner. I haven't had one of them in a long time. Get one of them big elephant ears. You know, I got to get one of those. I'll have a safety meeting, and then I'll smash the shit out of that. That thing won't even stand a chance. That is for sure. So, especially when they give you the little apple dip and the raspberry dip and shit for that. Fuck it.
Not familiar. I will say, I think these are so gross. I even feel more gross after I eat them, but that is one thing I'm not a fan of. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, the caramel apples are good too. I like me a caramel apple too. So, but yeah, hey, good fun. Go up and support the local city charities and drink some booze and, you know, have a little bit of fun. So can't complain about that. But yeah, hey, big week here in golf. We got all kinds of stuff going on. We got some baseball, of course, all week long. But yeah, hey, good times. I had a good week last week in DFS. So, you know, it's been about 3 weeks in a row now. I've actually been smashing. So having a lot of fun with that. Now, yesterday I didn't do so well. I thought Atlanta and the Dodgers were going to be a little sneaky title. It's just not been, you know, like yesterday the Reds scored a bunch of runs, but what? Other than Ellie's moonshot that he hit up on top of that boat.
Nuke.
I mean, damn, that dude just messed the shit out of that thing.
So did Vlad. Vlad hit over the monster. Those are two of the biggest nukes we've seen. Vlad and Ellie. Woo.
Yeah, those definitely were some bombs. But yeah, I mean, hey, we're getting to that time of year. We're going to start seeing hopefully some more runs. As we know, DFS player, it sucks when we start seeing pitching duel. But, man, with all this pitching we got here today, man, I was looking at Cuddle. You usually start off and say, hey, start with 8K and above, right? So I started looking at that before we got on the show, and I was like, well, how many? There's like 12 dudes, 8K and above today. I was like, damn. Usually there's like 6 or 7, you know? Like, I was like, there's 12 dudes, like 8K and above. So I'm like, well, basically, we're going to run through pitching from 8K and above, basically.
Maybe I'll throw you a little.
Pretty much shit.
Maybe I'll throw you a little curveball and raise it a little bit, because you are right. There would be almost nothing to talk about. There's a couple guys below 8K. We'll get there in a little bit. Fried Twinkies, ew. Fried cheesecake, ew. All this fried stuff, man. You guys not feel so gross after you eat all that stuff? Fried Oreos.
It's all right. Like you little, you know, pencil neck over there, eating and staying all healthy. Us fat guys, we eat that shit. We're good. We're ready for another round. Like I had to go to the doctor, and the doctor told me my cholesterol was high one time, and he's like, "Do you eat anything you shouldn't have ate last night?" I was like, "Well, I ate 4 Twinkies before I went to bed." He was like, 4 Twinkies? I go, dude, if you stack them up, it's like a piece of cake. Like, who cares? And, you know, he just looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, but serious, you stack them up, it ain't no bigger than a piece of cake. Come on now.
I don't know what to say. 4 Twinkies before bed. Charlie, what's going on? Lance, Juice, Pop Stoner, Gang, Warren Tyler, Hamwich, what's going on? Nate D. Shout out Ham the man. absolutely money on last Friday's show. I was in for Nades. He called Cookie Carrasco, who was like 1% owned. I was chirping him. Cookie went through. He called the Braves at very low ownership. They're like implied for like 3.8 runs. Braves absolutely went off. Ham the man, been on fire yesterday. Saw some screenshots thanking Ham and Nades as well. So keep up the great work. Ham's, yeah, he's dying because of Gyiraszin. Yes, I'm always dying here in Gyiraszin. Funny dude. But hey, you mentioned golf. Big boy golf weekend. I think this promo code, it has to end. If not, I'm going to make sure Tambo and Hoop take it down next week because Fantasy Golf World Championship 15 is this week in Detroit. Hoop is there. Tambo's there. I believe a couple of members as well. I don't have the names. If you're watching and you're in it, good luck to you. $1 million of first place. I believe the ticket's worth like $88,000, $84,000, something in that boat. Big boy weekend. Good luck, everybody out there. I know Hoop and Tambo just did their show. Definitely go check that out. Check out our course fit rankings, our tier rankings, core reports, slate plan, everything up for golf. Nobody better in the business. The Stone, of course, then Tambo, Hoop, and D-Gen. Again, there's just a golf-only package. Y'all listen to this MLB show. You probably want the monthly, 6-month, or annual. Use that promo code FGWC15. Gets you 15% off. MMA this week in pay-per-view season. NASCAR, MLB still going on. No NBA. Stanley Cup just ended, but man, what a series that was. It was cool to see it go 7. And of course, shout out to our sponsor, Drafters, sponsor of the show. If you have not drafted over at our Drafters, if you like best ball, no better spot to draft. 168,000 people, 500,000 to first place. Not going to guarantee overlay, but it has overlaid the past 2 years, and it's a little different format from Underdog, from DraftKings. I had a video. I just dropped it in the NFL Best Ball Discord yesterday. If you're new to Drafters, you want some broad overview strategy, check out the video I dropped in the Best Ball channel. If you have any questions, I'm in there. Big Marley's in there. We will have rankings as well. Show is starting after the 4th of July, so definitely check out drafters.com. Use that promo code SHIPIT. They will match 100% from $20 to $100. Who else we got here? Ryan Shepard. They said it's still good until the end of the week. Thank you, Ryan Shepard. And I figured that because if it was somehow up until next week, I was going to get rid of it. FGWC 15% off will be done at the end of the week. Appreciate that, Ryan. I don't really got anything else. That's the housekeeping. The SHIPIT, the Shiptimizer is still up. MMA, as I mentioned last week on the show, there's now the MMA Shiptimizer, MLB Shiptimizer, PGA Shiptimizer. If you're a monthly or above member, you have access to this for free. There's nobody out there that's giving away free optimizers or access to an optimizer for free. It will be charged eventually for us when we get it exactly where we want it. But right now, with any membership, it is free to mess around with. So again, I've done multiple tutorials or little stuff on this show. You can go back to some of those if you have questions on what day that was. I can find the exact videos when I run through it. But just go in there, mess around with it. Min, max, salary. It's a really cool tool over here, and it's completely free. It will be charged. It'll be the cheapest in the industry when it is. But right now, a monthly package, $69 a month. Use that 15% promo code, about $58 a month, and an optimizer. You just can't beat that deal. So if you want to give us a try, and of course, do get in the Discord if you do join. Yeah, I think that's everything for housekeeping. We got 12 games, Gyiraszin. Plenty to talk about, so I'm going to dive right in. The first thing I did on this slate, pitching was tough. As usual, I went over to our pitcher rankings. I'm not going to show it on the screen. It is, I think, very important on a slate like this to see what our tools like for pitching. Outside of Hunter Brown and Hunter Green, it is a tough pitching slate. So let's go. Yeah, I'll go 8K and above. You're already preparing for it. I'm not going to throw you a little curveball. And we got Hunter Brown sitting there at 8K, will be the most popular. Best matchup against Colorado. Been pitching very well. It's not in Coors Field. And even if it was in Coors Field, Gyiraszin, he still might be the highest owned at 8K on this slate. Outside of that, at the top, Joe Ryan. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best pitchers on the slate, like real life pitchers. And also, I have him projected for the 3rd highest points on this slate at 9.8K. And we do have 12 games. So while it's not the best spot for Joe Ryan, 17 might be enough to be on the optimal today. A lot of bats, cheap bats, etc. So I think Joe Ryan's in play. Seth Lugo, Ronaldo Lopez, Garrett Cole, Mitch Keller, Mackenzie Gore, Hunter Green, Bobby Miller, Tyler Anderson, Adam Mazur, Kevin Gossman, Hunter Brown. Break it all down, Gyiraszin. I know you've been preparing.
Yeah, this one, Man, I'll tell you, these are the days I like to play on FanDuel, man. Like, just sitting here on FanDuel, only got to pick one of these guys here today. I don't really think there's anybody here that could absolutely smash the slate, like where I'm really afraid of here today, Title. So, I got a couple guys I like on FanDuel, and that's about it. I'm not really going too far now. Starting at the bottom, as you asked me here, 8K, Hunter Brown. I think that's my favorite guy on FanDuel. Look, I always say I want a quality start. Dude's been rolling quality starts out there left and right. Been getting some pitching, getting some Ks, been pitching very well his last few starts. I really like him here against Colorado. That one stands out. Like when you're looking at this mess here at the top, I was like looking at, all right, what teams suck? Let's start there. Who do we like to chase? Obviously Colorado, Oakland, teams like that. So, just kind of looking here, Hunter Brown for me. And then you go up to Gausman. Man, Gossman's just been so hit or miss. I just don't think that, I really want to go there. I don't even consider him a pivot. Mazur, Anderson, I don't really consider. You got Miller who just come back. Now, we like to pick on the White Sox too. So now, are we happy with Miller, what he did coming back off the IL? This is his second start, I believe. So, we got to watch that a little bit here. Just kind of looking here. He ended up having 79 pitches. Maybe we get an extra 10 out of them, we can get up close to 90. I'd be pretty happy with that. But is he right yet? Is he there? I think he's definitely a pivot that you could look at just because we're going to be looking for some options here today. But Hunter Green against Pittsburgh, it's just Cincinnati's just such a hard park just to roster a pitcher in. At least, I just don't like doing it, especially when how warm it is. Now, the next guy here, I think, is when I was looking, man, my brain told me Mackenzie Gore, like just looking at it. The guy's been striking out. He's got probably the highest strikeout rate here on the slate between everybody here, I would assume, just kind of going out. I think he's like 28%. So, yeah, he definitely has the highest strikeout rate here on the slate. He's been pitching really well. San Diego's is beat up. So, I do know that San Diego does not have a high strikeout rate. So, that is definitely a knock against Gore here in this matchup. But you know what? We're looking for options here. I think Gore, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. So last 5 starts, 7, 10, 7, 2, 10. If I can get 7 or 8 Ks out of Mackenzie Gore here today in this matchup, I like it here. I wish he had a little bit better win equity. The Nats just stink. So, that's kind of tough, but I think he's definitely interesting today if you want to go there. Mitch Keller, he's another interesting option, but again, it's Cincinnati. I'm not really sure I want to play someone in Cincinnati. The guy has just about an average K rate, so really not liking him. And then we got Garrett Cole. I don't know why the hell he's 9,200. I don't know how many people are going to play him. His pitch count was not there. I think he was in the 50s last 62. So, what are we looking at here? Even if it gets an 75. Extra 15, 75, I no thanks. I'm not interested in any kind of Garrett Cole. Lopez, he's just, he's just nothing really special. 25, 26% K rate. He's probably in the top 5 as far as K rates here go today. But, man, Lopez is just tough. He's pitching well. He's got a fly ball risk. Cardinals do have some strikeouts. I think you could consider Lopez if you want. Lugo is another guy you could consider here. And then Joe Ryan. I'm not really interested in paying $9,800 for Ryan against Arizona. It is interesting. I think he's a very good pitcher. He's probably the best pitcher really on the slate, but I just don't like the matchup. But as we were saying, there's 12 pitchers above 8K, and there's only a few things that you really like, but you really don't like them all that much other than Hunter Brown. So as you mentioned, Hunter Brown's probably going to, especially on DK, I expect him to be really, really chalky. FanDuel, you might get a little bit of a discount on him here today.
He'll be chalky.
But he will be probably the highest owned pitcher. He will be the highest owned pitcher. I think Mackenzie Gore could take a little bit from him, possibly. But, yeah, it's definitely the battle of the hunters today. Green, Brown, Gore. I think those 3 would be 3 guys that I'd be looking at. Joe Ryan, maybe you could throw in there too. But I think I'm just Hunter Brown for me. I think there's enough bats and there's just enough stuff. You can be different elsewhere. I'm not going to try to get too cute and get beat up here today at pitching. Especially if you're playing on DK, which I am not today. I'm going to play on FanDuel only. But I think Hunter Brown is pretty easy choice for me. I'll just figure it out somewhere else.
Yeah, good breakdown. So my thoughts looking at pitching quick, kind of like I've talked about it the past couple of shows. I like targeting these pitchers out west or in dome games more than I do in these 95-degree Midwest and humid games, which is a ton of them right here. So you go down, Joe Ryan, he's in a dome. Is Arizona a great matchup? No, but 6.5K prop, some juice on the under. That's a third highest on the slates. Probably the best real life pitcher and in a dome. So I'm good overspending at 9.8K, 24 teams to pick from. There's plenty of secondary stacks. Hunter Brown's only 8K. I'm good with Joe Ryan. Buy on the talent. Seth Lugo, 5.5K prop, a lot of juice on the under for 9.6. Like, I just don't think the upside for the price is there. Obviously a solid matchup, but he would get the X in 20 and below. Ronaldo Lopez, like, he'd be one of the last guys in if I want it. Again, big arm, but in the Midwest, in St. Louis, where it's really hot, it's really humid. Garrett Cole, the pitch count concerns. I will say his K prop 5.5 minus 115 on the over. Gang liked his over. On his slate, like, I'm not going to play Cole at 9.2, but he's going to be below 10% owned, and 18 might be enough. Like, there was ever to play a pitch count concern good pitcher, this is the slate. So I don't think you're crazy to play Garrett Cole by any means. Because, again, I think 17 could be enough. I don't like it, though, because I'd rather a guy that can be rolling and get 100 pitches than I would knowing Garrett Cole's rolling and he's still going to come out after 75. But 5.5K prop, a pitching slate like this, I don't think you're crazy. Mitch Keller, I don't like it against Cincinnati, that ballpark, the humidity. Mackenzie Gore fits right into it. Obviously, no Fernando Tatis. They don't strike out much against lefties, but Gore's a big arm. And again, it's out west, late, a lot better pitching weather than the other games. I'm in on Mackenzie Gore. Hunter Green just won. He's just 7.5K prop. He's the same as Hunter Brown in terms of K prop. I think he's fine, but if you're going to fade one of Hunter Brown or Hunter Green, obviously it might be like 55% Hunter Brown, 30% Hunter Green. But even if those numbers are accurate, I still would rather eat Hunter Brown chalk than Hunter Green chalk. I think there's a lot of way that can go south. I think a Pittsburgh mini stack or even maybe a full stack in larger stuff is interesting to get some leverage. Now, I think Hunter Green should definitely be in the pool, but I'm a little more cautious with him. Bobby Miller, I've been going back and forth on because he gets one of the nut matchups against the White Sox, but it is a second start back from the IL. He's not going to be fully spread out or fully stretched out. His K prop was 4.5, minus 160 on the over is fine. Does have solid win equity, though. I think I would keep him in as a pivot from Hunter Green, and I do think Mackenzie Gore probably gets some steam too. So I think that'd be like the pivot of the pivot that people aren't thinking would be Bobby Miller. So I'm good with Bobby Miller. Tyler Anderson's the one that no one's really talking about that I'm in on. And again, I never play Tyler Anderson. But if 16 can be good enough on this slate, he's also the pivot in between the Hunter Brown and Hunter Green range. He gets a bad Oakland team, and he just navigates the game. Like, good pitching weather on a slate that there's not a lot of good pitching. His K prop actually surprised me because it never is really high. 5.5, minus 105, minus 130 on the under. His game log, 19, 18, 6, no good, 12, 11, 23, 23, 16. Good matchup, good pitching weather. Oakland's got a low team total. 5.5K prop solid for him. I'm good with Tyler Anderson. I actually like him. And again, it's more of a floor than ceiling play, but I don't think you're getting 25 plus from these pitchers out here. So I'm good with Tyler Anderson. Fits the mold. Adam Zer, no thank you. Kevin Gossman, no thank you. Hunter Brown, I'm good on. So Brown, Anderson, Miller, Green, Gore, Ryan would be the ones up top. I think Lopez would be fine. But again, a lot of the trend for me, dome games or West Coast games instead of the really hot, humid games in the Midwest. Let's keep it rolling. 8K and below. A couple guys that stand out. Brandon Pfaadt for a similar reason. In a dome, do I like picking on Minnesota much? No, but 7.8K, another solid pivot from Hunter Brown. There's Brian Bello here. There's Andrew Heaney. There's Mitch Spence, David Peterson. To be honest, I don't like this range much down here. Brandon Pfaadt's definitely my favorite, and I think you could play the 6 above that I mentioned or 5 or whatever it is and keep your pitching pool somewhat smaller, assuming most people watching this show play 5 teams or less. So, yeah, I don't like the punts too much. It would be Brandon Pfaadt is my favorite. What about you?
Yeah, it's pretty tough down there. I mean, Fott is definitely interesting, as we mentioned. Before we begin the season, we were kind of going after these Twins, with right-handed pitching. So we kind of dialed that back a little bit here. But I seen here in the comments somebody mentioned
Wizard Hunt, the
Kyle
Giants
Hendricks
dude.
here a few minutes ago, and Michael W. Hendricks looks all right here tonight. So like for me. I mean, he's a low strikeout pitcher that he had 8 Ks last game. You're sitting there thinking, he can navigate through. I don't mind this thought at all. I mean, you think about a ground ball pitcher, you're sitting there looking at 5,600. You get 100 pitches out of this guy, well, maybe not 100 pitches. Maybe you get 80, 90 pitches out of this guy. You get 5-6 innings out of him. You can get you 15 points, as you mentioned. I mean, I think it's a little bit more of a reach. I think it's a little bit more risky than some of these guys, but for 5,600, I mean, hey, I don't feel we're going to get beat at pitching today, so I don't mind, taking a few chances here. So I think Hendricks is somebody you could look at. I mean, I'm not enamored with it. Spence, Heaney, I think those guys, something you could look at. Milwaukee struggles really against lefties. I mean, they're bad. They're like one of the worst teams against lefties. So I mean, that's another guy you might want to, you could consider. Spence here, I mean, he got 19 points last game. He's been up there in the pitch count. I mean, they're just all dart throws for me in reality. So, yeah, I mean, I think Hunter Brown for me on FanDuel is just the guy I'm going to look at. I don't think I'm going to really go too low. I'm not going to play a Kyle Hendricks or anybody like that over there. So, yeah, I mean, I'm right in my range, right? Like, especially with pitching lately, I like to be around that 8K range, 8,500, between 8 and 9K for my pitching. It gives me plenty of money to buy whatever bats I want, especially on FanDuel with some of the lax pricing they have. So, when I think I find myself reaching more for pitching on DK, especially that SP2, trying to take a little bit more of a chance. I think Hendricks is the guy you could use. I mean, if you want to go Hunter Brown and Hendricks, I think that wouldn't be terrible. I mean, you could definitely go there with a chalky guy. If Hendricks gets the win tonight, gets you 15, 16 points tonight, then you're in good shape. So I don't think that's a bad option. But yeah, to me, it's just so much there at that top level. I mean, you're getting down here at the bottom here. It's just nothing really stands out, like I mentioned. But I don't really mind Hendricks. I wouldn't mind it. Heaney's another guy, like I said, if you really wanted to go there. You mentioned Bello and Fott, but yeah, I think, for me, I'm just going to stick with Hunter Brown today.
Rank your, assuming you were playing on DraftKings, can't say Hunter Brown. Who's your top 3 pitchers?
Mackenzie Gore would be 1. I'd probably go Joe Ryan 2. And then I would probably say, that last one's a tough one. I probably would go with a savings at that point. And you know what? Sure, I'll pay down for Hendricks.
There you go. I don't know. It's tough between the Joe Ryan, Mackenzie Gores. It'd be those two and Tyler Anderson for me, though. And again, obviously ownership matters and all of that. I do think Mackenzie Gore can be like the pivot that gets steam, though, right off of Hunter Green. No Tatis in the lineup, obviously. So I'd be a little cautious with that. Again, I like him, but it is a lower strikeout matchup against San Diego, against lefties. Like Arise is going to battle up top, Profar, Machado. I like Ryan overspending, but he gets in the dome. And yeah, Tyler Anderson just feels safe today. But again, we do agree Hunter Brown is by far the best on the slate. Everyone does, though. Ownership will be above 50% in single entry stuff for sure. I mean, you could be looking at 75, 80, and I wouldn't even be surprised in the flagship if it gets like 50% or something like that. So anytime it's like that and you're playing baseball, you can always make a case. The fade, and even today, we'll get to the Rockies side. I don't think it's the craziest to play the Rockies just because it's baseball and he's going to be that high owned. And somehow the Rockies get to him. All the Hunter Brown teams are dead. Your 1% Rockies or less stack is up top and you compete with very little. Do I think it gets there? No. But when it does, you win all the cheese. Josh likes Kyle Gibson. What's going on, Peter? Huh?
I said all the cheese.
All the cheese.
That's what we want. All the cheese.
You got that
greedy
right.
bastards. We want it all.
We want the cheeses right. Let's talk some hitters, Gyiraszin. Start with the first game of the night. 12 to talk about. Pittsburgh Pirates, Cincinnati Reds kick it off. Mitch Keller, Hunter Green on the mound. 90 degrees in Cincy. Kind of humid like usual. Great hitting weather. We saw the Reds go off yesterday. Again, I think the Pirates are interesting because Hunter Green is going to get ownership. If his control's not on, I mean, man, Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz went deep yesterday. Rowdy's cheap again. This lineup's very cheap, so you can go like an easy Ryan, Gore, or something like that. Or you want to go Hunter Brown, Ryan. You can play whoever because Pittsburgh's going to be low enough owned. You get some leverage off of Hunter Green. I think they're interesting. I'll let you touch on the Reds side. What do you like?
Yeah, I'd really like to see the Reds just get some more power bats, right? I mean, they're playing in a park. We love home runs, and they just like yesterday. I mean, it wasn't for Ellie's just nuke. I mean, they still scored a bunch of runs, but it was just, singles, doubles there and there. And I mean, they're up there with Milwaukee. I think they're 1-2 in stolen bases, and it's like 30 bags in between second and third. Like they're way ahead. So I mean, we like the stolen base upside that they're bringing to the table. But, I mean, you got a decent pitcher here, Mitch Keller. Numbers a little bit lower as far as strikeouts against, for righties. He has a little bit, his fly ball. He's more of a ground ball pitcher to right side. So, looking at some lefty power. Candelaro's been hitting the ball pretty well. I'm sure Fraley, Ellie, of course, these guys will be in there. But, man, I just wish they'd hit more home runs, man. I mean, Cincinnati's just you just wish they could just get, like do what the Yankees did. Add a couple bats that just don't miss any balls. Like, I mean, that would help that lineup just like really rocket it up to the top of the majors. I mean, it's just kind of aggravating, but I think the potential's there. It's just so tough against these two pitchers here we got going today. I mean, we're looking at a game here, title. I was looking, we got 12 games. I think it's 7 of the 12 have a number of 8.5 to 9.5. So we're all bunched up right at the top. There's no 11. There's, a couple 7.5s, whatever else. So in reality, Vegas doesn't really have anybody that, nobody's just out, shining anybody else here in this spot. I mean, this game's at a 9 and it's got two good pitchers. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a little bit of, it has a little bit to do with the park. If they were in Pittsburgh, this game would be an 8. So, I think that comes into play. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you want to look at some one-offs, you maybe look at something like that. I just, full stack in here, I think is pretty risky, especially with the two pitchers we have. Pittsburgh's bullpen isn't the greatest, though, if you wanted to look at that. But, yeah, I'm just not a fan.
Yeah. Hey, there's 12 games. You're not going to be a fan of all the games. That'd be bad. So I prefer Pirates. Again, I like them more as a mini stack. And it's because you get leverage off the second chalkiest pitcher on the slate and good hitting weather, guaranteed ninth inning at bats. They're cheap. Makes a lot of sense to me.
That comment's right on the money.
A lot of teams could use Luis Robert. That's for sure. And Nate, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. And I don't know, who teams can't use that our Brewer crew just got? Did you see?
No.
Dallas Keuchel. Didn't know that dude was still around throwing the ball.
What? Is he an announcer or is he actually pitching?
I don't know. I just saw Dallas Keuchel, the Brewers. I'm like, what the heck is going on? We'll keep it rolling. Toronto Blue Jays, Boston Red Sox. Kevin Gausman, Brian Bello on the mound. 85 degrees in Fenway. 9.5 total. You're looking at pretty similar to this last game. 9 total for the last one. 9.5 here. Little worse hitting weather, but it's still hot in Boston. Short porch and right. Vlad absolutely hit a nuke yesterday. I think the Red Sox side is interesting. Gausman struggles against lefties. You look at this lineup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lefties the Red Sox threw at him. Yeah, I'm in for that. I think the Red Sox are very interesting against Gausman. Some expensive bats like Duran up top, Devers. You can always throw a Tyler O'Neill in the stack. The only two righties are Tyler O'Neill and Rafaela down there. He has shortstop eligibility. Dom Smith got some power in the 7-hole. Yoshida. I like these lefties, and, man, they threw a lot of them at Gausman. Give me some of these Red Sox. Blue Jays, I don't know. I'm indifferent about. I haven't really played them all year. I doubt today's the day. The Brewers need pitching, but that dude is not who you need pitching. That dude hurts you. He doesn't help you.
Talk about that's like one of the worst DFS guys to play too. Even when he was like decent, like he just never struck anybody out, man.
Ground balls for days.
Right, just ground balls for days. That is for sure. But every team needs pitching though, actually. But you're right here in this matchup here titled Gausman does struggle. He's got a higher fly ball lean, almost 31% to lefties. Definitely the strikeout rate here, 4% lower to the lefties. But Duran, I mean, his ISO's 251 against righties. Devers with a strong 308. So, those two definitely are two guys you're going to want to consider in your stack. Hamilton should be pretty cheap. Yoshida's been pretty cheap here. Dominic Smith, I mean, really.
Hamilton's not in.
Oh, he's not. All right. I was kind of guessing he would be. But, I mean, I'm looking at the bottom of this lineup. I don't really like the bottom, but I think the top half, top 6 guys here definitely could definitely do some damage here. I like the White Sox. I like the Park. So the Red Sox, I'm sorry. But, yeah, I don't mind it at all. I think it's interesting. Toronto bullpen is like the 6th worst bullpen in all of MLB, too. So we can get Gausman out. We can beat up. We got a nice park here, warm weather. Give me some Red Sox. I think it's a pretty good stack today.
They're one of my top 5. I like what they did with the order again. All these lefties there. Maybe it makes them a little more popular, but you can't really be worrying about that on a 12-game slate. Yeah, I mean, they got Abreu in the 4-hole 4-2, or in the 3-hole, Valdez second base 3-6. Then second, Yoshida's only 3-3. Yeah, it looks good. Reese McGuire, the lefty and catcher, if you want to fill him out, probably not go there. But yeah, I like Boston, the lefties preferably. Devers hit one in New Hampshire last night. Oh, I missed that one. But, man, so many bombs. With the weather, I don't know. Who knows what's going on with the balls, if it is dead balls early and they bring back whatever. But what you do know is the balls travel more in the humidity and in hotter weather. April DFS, when you're playing in Detroit, I can't say Wisconsin, in Wrigley and stuff, it's no fun. If you're playing this time of year, it's pretty fun. So balls do fly.
You know what else I was thinking, title? When Diaz's dumbass come out there with shit all over his hand, like, you fucking think the umpires are fucking blind? Like, what are you doing? I was thinking to myself, ooh, maybe this will scare all these guys who are getting away with some bullshit, because now it might clamp it down a little bit. Because, I mean, for him to run out like that, he's got away with it before. Nobody runs. I mean, you're not that stupid.
Yeah.
Maybe he is, but holy shit, man. I was watching that game, like, they threw him out. Like, what the hell is he doing? Like, man, oh, man. But, yeah, I was thinking, ooh, maybe this will lead us some more runs, get some of these pitching scared. Because when all that stuff started happening, when Cole was crying like a baby, man, they were scoring all kinds of runs. So, yeah, I don't know. I saw that. I thought, well, maybe that will kind of scare some dudes off if anybody's getting away with that stuff. But, yeah, I mean, two title, I was just looking. You know how many times we always say, like, we only got 3 teams today with over team total of 5.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're sitting there looking at the pitching. And we're like, It's just
crazy. You'd expect a lot more.
It's late.
You're right. It's a really tough slate because pitching and bats are hard. Like, it's like, all right, all these bad pitchers, we got to have so many good spots for bats. Yeah, there's a lot of solid spots, but not too much that, like, stands out. It's a good slate, which outside of Hunter Brown, ownership's going to be relatively spread out, which is really good to know. Yeah, Trevor Bauer's stuck on 19 in Mexico. Holy cripes.
Yeah, that's who somebody should be getting. I mean, he's blackballed for some reason.
Yeah, I mean,
well, we know why, but
I was gonna say the reason people know why. How many times did Gyiraszin mentioned a safety meeting? Once, and that was only because he was gonna pound a safety meeting before he pounded some elephant ears, funnel cakes, all this other greasy stuff.
Free tonight. Get some safety meetings in and get me some elephant ears.
There you go. Now I'm 2 Adam. You can keep tally after that. He's been good though. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slates: New York Yankees, New York Mets. Garrett Cole, David Peterson on the mound, 85 degrees in New York. This is a cross-off for me. Obviously, you can always play Judge. I mean, he's probably one of the better one-offs on the slate, actually. But in terms of a full stack, yeah, I don't like this game. I think David Peterson's okay, at least a solid real-life pitcher. There's better hitting environments. There's better hitting ballparks. Yankees are expensive for the bats I want, and I'm definitely not playing the Mets against Cole. Like, the reason we're not playing Cole is the pitch count concerns. So, yeah, nothing. Oh, Eddie likes the Yankees. Do you like the Yankees, Gyiraszin?
The Yankees are interesting. I think the Yankees are in that spot now this year where if I can get the Yankees at low ownership, like I'm gonna think about it for a minute. Like, even
you'll get them low owned.
The Braves and Dodgers are in that same category for me. But, I mean, you're looking here. You definitely got Peterson. He's got a high ground ball rate, 56% to righties, 52 to lefties. So obviously you're going to want guys that hit fly balls. So we do have Judge, 33%. Obviously he's somebody you want to look at. Torres has got a 44%. So I think those two guys you could look at, especially for one-off. So I'd throw Torres in there too as a potential one-off guy. But Judge, anytime you can, throw Aaron Judge in, I mean, how can you not? But I don't mind. I don't mind the Yankees here today. They're not one of my favorites, but I think you could definitely consider them, especially if you're playing more in a few teams.
I don't know what made me think about it again, but you got me dying when you said pencil neck. That was a good one.
Well, you are, man. You're like skinny as a damn bone. Eat a taco over there, man.
I eat a lot of tacos.
I'm just jealous. You work out,
No.
You do all that shit. I got, a little fat fucking gut on me. I don't give a fuck, though. I'm 52 and don't give a shit.
No, you made me laugh. Pencil neck was geeked. Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Ronaldo Lopez, Kyle Gibson on the mound. 95 degrees in St. Louis, humid. This is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, Ronaldo Lopez is in a fine spot. Big arm. He has upside. I think you can definitely play him. I would like him so much more if he was in a dome or in one of these West Coast games. Because, man, humid, 95 degrees. St. Louis plays like a hitter's park, especially in the summer. I just don't love playing pitchers here at this time of year. I don't know, though. The Braves against Kyle Gibson, high ground ball pitcher, but obviously with no Acuna, you get Kelenic cheap leading off. The bottom of the order is cheap. It's just 2 through 5 usually that you have to pay for. So it's easy to play the Braves because you can mix in the lower half of the order. You can play the expensive bats. It doesn't break the bank. Guaranteeing anything at bats, good hitting weather, and they're going to be pretty low on Gyiraszin. So you just said kind of same thing about the Yankees. If I had to pick a team, Yankees or Braves, I'd pick in the Braves. So, yeah, I mean, I guess they're fine. I like the Red Sox more, though. I do know that.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. I mean, the Cardinals have been hitting better. I mean, beginning of the year, we were talking how bad they were. They couldn't hit for shit. But, the last 7 days, they're actually in the top 8 here in OPS in all of MLB. So they picked it up a little bit. So, something, it's not like they're the deadbeat Cardinals that came out and Goldschmidt and Arenado were like up the bat like this. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. But, yeah, I mean, Lopez, I think he's an interesting guy. Like, that guy has some upside. But then again, as you mentioned, you got to park. He's got a little bit of fly ball lean. But, I look at some of these Cardinal bats, their fly ball percentages aren't all that high. I mean, some of these guys here, Contreras, he's at like 29, Goldschmidt 27. So I'm not really all that concerned really too much there, but I think Lopez is too good here in this matchup. But, it's just a couple flags there, right? Like you mentioned, the heat, the weather, I'm not a fan. They've been hitting better. I think there's other options here. Atlanta, Kyle Gibson, oh, man. I mean, he does have a low strikeout rate. Ground ball rate's really high. Gibson's just one of those guys, like, he just doesn't really get beat up much. But, I mean, hey, it is Atlanta, so I don't mind playing Atlanta. It was like Ham. We mentioned it to show. Ham called Atlanta last Friday and came through for us. So, that's definitely – I think anytime we can get a Braves team in a low-type ownership, especially in a road game here, St. Louis bullpen – is middle of the road here, as far as their bullpen goes. So nothing really kind of a lean there. But, I think Atlanta's interesting. It's just not up there for me as in past days. But I'm not going there with any kind of Cardinals bats against Lopez, though.
Yeah, I think if I get to the Braves, it's like I'm eating Hunter Brown chalk, maybe even Hunter Green chalk, and then, you can mix in some of these lower-owned bats. Ozuna's always good. Would be my favorite bat. He's going to be low in at 5'9". Kelenic will probably be the most popular, 3.6 leading off. They don't make my top 5. So I guess on this 12-game slate, it doesn't mean too much. But if I'm playing 20 teams, they're definitely in the pool. Good hitting weather, low-owned, guaranteed ninth inning at bats against an okay pitcher because he keeps the ball on the ground. But he's not overpowering or anything by any means. Balls will be in play. Next game on the slate.
Aurelio Lopez. Senior Smoke. That's way before your time.
I was going to say, I have no
before
clue.
your time. That was like 1984, 85, 86 time. That's way before your time, my friend.
You
Benny
are
and I must
definitely
be
right.
about the same age.
I was going to say, I wasn't even going to respond to that comment because I had no clue what y'all talking about. But, hey, that's why I love having Gyiraszin next to us. A lot of, I'm not going to say older. That's, a lot of middle-aged.
Experience.
Yeah, a lot of experienced veterans in the YouTube chat that know names like that. Back growing up with Raleigh Fingers and et cetera. All right, next game on the slate.
There you go. That was in your neighborhood. He's probably still on billboards.
Robin Yount, Raleigh Fingers. No, they're always up there at Miller Park, aka American Family. All right, next game. Dodgers, White Sox. Bobby Miller, Chris Flexen on the mound. Almost 90 degrees in Chicago. Pretty humid. Chris Flexen stinks. The Dodgers are good. Yeah, Dodgers are going to get some ownership. Doesn't take rocket scientists to figure that one out. If I play the Dodgers, I don't know if I would necessarily set a rule, like if I'm 5-man in the Dodgers, not to play Hunter Brown, since it is a 12-game slate and you can find a different now that I'm talking about it, I wouldn't, but I would make sure my SP2 is pretty low owned and I'm getting different in some way, whether I'm leaving off an Ohtani or a Will Smith and I'm like one-offing a more expensive bat. I would be cautious on playing Hunter Brown, 5-man in pretty popular Dodgers, and figuring out the rest there. Because Hunter Brown's only 8K. The Dodgers are by far in probably the best spot. I think the Royals you can make a case for as well. But Chris Flexen's bad, guaranteed ninth inning at bats, good hitting weather, and it's the Dodgers. I don't really have much more to say. I don't like the White Sox.
Yeah, the Dodgers, man, I'll tell you, Flexen's bad. He's got ISO almost like 280 against lefties. I mean, Shohei, he might hit 2 homers today. I mean, his first 2 at-bats, he might hit 2 homers. I mean, Flexen he's just not very good, as we know. So, the Dodgers here, the pinch hit risk scares me at the bottom of the lineup with like Hayward and Lux. I think that's kind of scaring me, just kind of looking here. They got 3 lefties sitting down there in that bullpen too. So, I think that's going to be one of the first guys come off the bench here for the White Sox. Now, this White Sox bullpen sucks. So, obviously if we can, get through Flexen, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities here for some runs. This one could get out of hand early, but Freeman and Ohtani stand out big time here today. I think those are probably one of the top 2 bats here on the whole slate. So, definitely go Scott. That's the damn.
That's a good one, Benny.
We know, Benny. I already had one of them. You don't want that shit, buddy. I'll tell you that. And you youngsters, you don't want that. That prep work sucks.
No.
You can't even understand title. Like,
Well,
I had it all warned to me. The best advice I got was you just start wiping your ass with wipies, the cool wipies right off the start. Because I don't care. After a while, those will feel like fucking sandpaper. It's fucking, dude. And then when you go in there, they don't let you eat or drink nothing. I was so thirsty. I remember telling the nurse, when I wake up, please have a cup of ice and some water because I need to drink something. And then they can't tell you can't leave until you fart and piss. So you got to fart real loud, and everybody in the office laughs. It's like a joke. And then you got to go pee, and then once you're done, you can go home. But it's terrible, man. It's the worst.
Yeah, that does not sound like something anyone would want to do.
They're wheeling me back to the room, and, I'm all masked up and shit. I'm like, I need to know everybody's name. We're going to a party, and about my ass, I don't know nobody's name in here. We got to start saying names, and they didn't. But hey, I'll tell you though, I had this hot lady nurse. I was kind of thinking, go ahead, lady, do whatever.
Oh my! Next game on the slate: Miami Marlins, Kansas City Royals. Yadier Chirinos, Seth Lugo on the mound, hot and humid in KC, 95 degrees. Yeah, take it away, Gyiraszin. What's up?
I'm not playing any kind of the Royals. This game actually has the highest over under at 9.5, which, I mean, we could probably take away all the over-unders on the slate. I don't think anybody would have picked this game to have the highest over-under. And if you did, I'd be pretty surprised. So, but, yeah, I mean, the Royals are definitely interesting. I mean, Chirinos, what the fuck? Like, that guy, no, that guy's not any good. I just wish the Royals would hit more homers. They're kind of like a Reds team for me. They got one great hitter, Witt, and then, like, Ellie. And then I really got not much else. Nothing really enamored you. So, like you got the one expensive guy and you got a bunch of, cheaper. I just wish Kansas City hit more homers. Like yesterday when I saw they were getting steamed up a little bit, I was like, I'm not interested in playing Kansas City. And neither was I really interested in playing Cincinnati just because of the fact that they just don't hit enough homers. So, but yeah, this game's sitting there at the highest over-under. I'm not interested in any Marlins. So if you want to look at some Royals, I definitely don't blame you. Definitely would want to be looking at more of the, I guess probably look at some lefties. But, like I said, you look at Vinny, Massey, Melendez. I just wish they just have a little bit more power across the board all together. I just wish they had more pop. I think on a big slate like here today, I just think I'm going to need a little bit more pop than I'm going to get from the Royals here to get the top of a tournament.
That makes sense. I do like the Dodgers more, and I like the Astros more in a vacuum. And I think those are probably the 3 highest owned teams. But I really don't have much bad to say about the Royals. Like Bobby Witt feels like one of the best plays on the slate, as he is most times. Salvi went deep yesterday. Vinny went deep yesterday. And I do remember, it was probably like 3 weeks ago, a month ago, you were hating on the Indians, as you like to call them. Oh, they never homer, this and that. I think they put up like 6 homers that day. So, hey, might be one of those spots at the Royals. You're right. They don't homer much. Indians didn't homer much, but daily fantasy sports. Daily. Tonight, they might, and they're in a good matchup. Let's keep it going. Next game on the slate. Man, 12 is a lot of them. Still got, 6 games left, something like that. Another good spot in terms of bats. Colorado Rockies, Houston Astros, Austin Gomber, Hunter Brown on the mound. It's in a dome, so it's not going to be 95 degrees, humid, all of that. At least I assume it's got to be really hot in Houston. No way it's open, so it's closed. I like the Astros. They're going to roll out a bunch of righties, and the lefties Yordan. Gomber's not good against either side of the plate. He gets beat up more against righties. Definitely love Yordan, though, in stacks. I think he's fine as like one-off. He'll be very low owned as a one-off. So that's the stuff I think of. He'll be more owned in stacks. If he's 15% owned, 14% are probably in stacks, or 13% are probably in stacks. Very few as a one-off. He's got that double dong upside. We talked a little bit earlier, at least I did, about like the Rockies against Hunter Brown, because he's going to be mega. Like, to be honest, I might even rather it in like single entry stuff when you could be looking at 90% Hunter Brown, smaller stuff like that. But the odds of it working are not good at all. If I had to pick out a bat or two, Ryan McMahon probably. That would be the one. Yeah, he's 4-5, third base. Tovar a little too expensive. I don't know. Someone mentioned Jake Cave. I don't know what that has to do about a colonoscopy, but yeah, Jake Cave, I guess too. What do you like?
Just
oh, that's why. The last name Cave. All right, I got it. Took me a second.
Right. We could throw all kinds of the colonoscopy jokes with Brown in this game if you really want to go there. We could go there, but I'm not really a fan. I can't go any Rockies. Browns has been pitching really well, but you look at this Houston side. I think that's interesting. Gomber just is such a low strikeout pitcher. This dude, 11% last year, 15% to righties. He does have a little ground balling. He's in the mid 40%. But we know this Astro team don't strike out. So you got a guy that don't miss bats. He's going to be, getting hit around. So, I think the Astros are interesting. Gomber, obviously isn't somebody that we're going to fear. And Colorado's bullpen is the worst. So, definitely something here to consider here. So I think Astros definitely in play. So definitely like me some Astros here. Now, get back on our little off topic. How about them people that shit in the box? Who the hell wants to shit in the box and ship it? Like, what do? Hand it to the shipping lady up there at the counter and be like, here's my shit, lady? Like,
what kind of people you hang out with?
Me. Like, you shit in the box and then you mail it. Like,
people do that? What?
Yeah. I forgot what it's called, but like instead of doing a colonoscopy and have to do all that, you shit in a box and you mail it to the company and they test it for you, and then you go online and see what your results are. So it's like a less invasive kind of thing. But yeah, like they prescribe that to people. You got to poop in a box and mail it to somebody. Like, if I'm driving down the street and I get pulled over, what's in the box, sir? Is there weed in there? No, it's poop. That'd be fucking hilarious.
What in the world?
Color guy, color guy. There you go, Benny.
Yeah, I don't even know how to follow up with that besides the next game on the slate. Texas Rangers, Milwaukee Brewers. Andrew Heaney, Bryce Wilson, 9 total. Man, wow. I prefer the Rangers side. Bryce Wilson, he's bad against lefties. Like Corey Seager's a great play. Josh Smith, Nathaniel Lowe, Jonah Heim, whatever lefties are in there, I think are good plays. And they're probably going to roll out probably 6. And the 2 that aren't, or at least 2 of them, are Adolis Garcia and Marcus Semien. 2 guys he can always play against a righty. So I think the Rangers are interesting as a low-owned stack. Do I like it as a 5-man? I don't know. But you can play Hunter Brown with the 5-man Rangers. So I guess like that's the stuff I would do. Whereas it's harder to do that with the Dodgers. But I think some of these Rangers are interesting. Guaranteed 9th inning at bats. Corey Seager stands out for sure. Brewers against Heaney. No, I don't like it as much. Like a William Contreras, very low-owned one-off, but you're breaking the bank at 5-6. So not the Brew Crew as much for me.
Yeah, Brewers are bad. They're real bad against lefties. I am not going to Title just sitting here. I get a kick out of Title giggling. But anyway, I'm not looking at
people always telling me, oh, it's going to be you one day, Title. All this. Can't wait, Title. Yeah, I'm not counting down the days for that. I'll promise you that.
See, that's the fun of us, like guys like my age when you get to be 50, because we had this happen to us. We've had, an uncle or a dad tell us these horror stories about getting old. And then you're like, what? That never's going to happen to me. And then later in life, it happens to you and you're like, sons of bitches.
I'll remember this exact day talking.
I know you will forever too. When the doctor tells me he has to shit in the box, he's going to laugh so hard. He ain't even going to know what to do. He's going to be dying laughing. So, but anyway, now I will say here, when I was looking at this, game log here, man, Bryce Wilson is terrible against lefties. So I'm sitting there thinking, dude, how is Corey Seager not one of the top bats on the slate? So I think he's a guy you want to look at, like you mentioned, Lau. I think he's somebody you're going to look at, Smith. But I like the lefties a lot here in this matchup for the Rangers here. So definitely somebody, I think that's another stack you could look at. But I really like the one-off. I think Corey Seager is a really good one-off here today.
Yeah, you and I agree. So we got 4 games left, Gyiraszin, and these are the games where, I guess you can include that last one. It's out west, and all of them, or one of them's in a dome, and the other ones are all below 80 degrees. So we're going from all these hot, humid games in the Midwest, East Coast, I guess a little bit too, to these West Coast games that aren't nearly like that. So I mentioned in the beginning, I like a lot of these pitchers. We're going to talk about Tyler Anderson, Mackenzie Gore, Joe Ryan, Fott. Like, I don't like many bats at all. So if no one's really scoring runs in these first games, it's going to be a bad night over here. I do not like. We'll get started with it, but I just want to say, warning, I don't like any of these as 5-man stacks. Oakland Athletics, Los Angeles Angels, Mitch Spence, Tyler Anderson, 75 degrees in Anaheim, Eddie, in Anaheim, 8 total. I like Tyler Anderson on this slate, which feels really weird to say. So definitely no A's. Yeah, like why would I want to play these Angels? I guess Taylor Ward bombed yesterday, right in the heart of the order, 4K. I think he'd be fine as a one-off. Willie Calhoun maybe, or something like mini for the Angels, but definitely don't like it as a 5-man. We talked about, 8 games already on this slate? So many teams that are in play. I just hope these West Coast games don't really beat me.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Title. The Angels cannot hit for shit here in the last week. Dude, their stinking slugging percentage in the last week, or their OPS, in the last week is 466. The next last team is 539. The Angels are just been bad lately. So, you're sitting there thinking, maybe I could attack some A's. You could look to that side. I'm not interested in any of these Angels bats. I might even think a little bit more about Spence now, just, kind of noticing that. So they've just been really bad here. So
look at that. You and Nades might have found a low-owned cheap pitcher that y'all both like. He likes Spence too.
Bad as Angels have been, you almost got to think about it now, talking it through. So I definitely think Spence could be in play here. Now, as far as, the Oakland bats against Anderson, you mentioned you do like Anderson. I'm not really wanting to go there. He does have more of a ground ball lean to lefties than righties. So if you want to go there, not really a very good K rate here, but, Blade, if you want to look at something like that as a one-off, but I'm just not there. So I'm out on the bats here on this one. And I actually have a little bump to Spence since I just realized that the Angels, that's bad. OPS of 466, that That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at some of the bottom of the order, like Michael Stefanik, Zach Neto, Mickey Monty, yeah, that's not a good team.
Yeah,
Trout,
right. That's right, Michael. Can't hit out of a wet paper bag.
3 games left. Again, 7.5 total right here. Nationals, Padres, Mackenzie Gore, Adam Mazur on the mound, 70 degrees. Yeah, I don't like anything in this one. The Padres, no Tatis in the lineup. Mackenzie Gore is definitely interesting. Will come with some ownership. And that's not a team I want to play. Yeah, easy fade.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I'm not going there. CJ Abrams, though, has been hitting pretty well here in the last week. If you want to go there, he's actually in the top 10.
25, 26, 26 that game log. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's nice. Been hot. He's 9 out of 19 in the last week. So CJ Abrams has been hitting the shit out of the ball. So you could definitely look at that if you wanted to, some one-offs. Whenever I'm looking for a one-off, I ain't saying it's like the dead thing, but I definitely like to go to the last week and try to find me a guy that's been hitting the ball pretty well, just to throw in. And sometimes, you find a guy, like I always said, man, a guy gets moved up to that 2-hole in the lineup when he's generally been hitting. That's like to me, like this the telltale sign the manager just likes what he sees. So not saying we got any situations like that, but I mean, Abrams is definitely in play here against Mazur, but yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, just not really much here. I mean, we know in San Diego, I mentioned before, it gets later at night, that marine layer comes in, the air gets real thick. That ball just does not fly at all. So, yeah, I'm out on this one. I actually like Mackenzie Gore quite a bit.
I like it. Going to be very simple for me these last 4 games. Like I said, Twins, Diamondbacks, Joe Ryan, Brandon Pfaadt on the mound, 7.5 total. Roof will be closed. 2 very solid real-life pitchers that I have interest in DFS. Not like these lineups are like, I don't love picking on the D-backs lineup in general. I don't love picking on the Twins lineup, especially with Royce Lewis back. So I don't think like Pfaadt's a slam dunk play or Ryan's a slam dunk play. But really no pitchers outside of Hunter Brown are slam dunk plays, and you have to play 2 on DraftKings. I think these are 2 of the guys very much in play, and I definitely don't want any bats. But you're talking about hot hitters, like you like to pick one-offs like in the last week. And that makes a lot of sense to me because if anyone's played baseball, like you go through times where the ball looks like a beach ball coming in. You're seeing everything. You're locked the fuck in. Like Royce Lewis has been the past 2 weeks. Sometimes anything you do, you just can't do anything. Like it's not clicking mentally and you get in your head. Baseball is definitely a mental game. I believe in all of that. Played it myself.
I like too when a guy's walking more too, Title, I think that's a sign too. He's seeing the ball really well. Like if you see a guy that maybe got 1 hit, but he walked 2 or 3 times that game, I like to keep my eye, especially on power hitters, because if they're seeing the ball well, it's just a matter of
close pitches. If they're giving out close pitches or curveballs that are starting in the zone, just miss them. Like you have to watch all of that, like not walks where it's like 4 out of the plate. They're trying to like pitch out to go get the runner at second. If they're close pitches they're taking, power hitters, like you said, makes even more sense because they want to send it to the moon. All of that I look at as well. So I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, I think this one here, though, I mean, Minnesota, Arizona, there really isn't anybody. I mean, Ryan does have a fly ball lean if you wanted to look at something like that. I mean, Christian Walker, maybe if you want to use him like a one-off, you get some – I'd say you get some decent leverage. I wouldn't say it'd be major leverage just because you're going to see so much ownership on Brown. But, yeah, I mean, I'd just like to see a little bit more out of Arizona here. Joe Ryan is just he's just a good pitcher. I think he's probably the best pitcher on the slate overall, talent wise. So
besides Garrett Cole.
Well, yeah, besides Cole, I guess. We'll have to see it from Cole.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't even know for sure, but it's one of those 2.
And the Brewers. Wait a minute. We got a timeout, King of Smack. The Brewers traded for Dallas Keuchel? What?
I didn't even know they actually
traded for Dallas Keuchel at high noon. I got a Torkelson card we could trade him.
Yeah, who's worse, Torkelson or Dallas Keuchel? Yeah, I didn't know that dude was even on a roster to even trade. Like, what do you trade as right?
I mean, is he going to be the pitching coach?
Who wants to take advice from that clown? Nah. All right, last game on the slate. Cubs, Giants, Kyle Hendricks, Randy Rodriguez. So what is this, an opener? He won 2 innings. What, an opener and a long reliever? I don't necessarily know this whole Giants situation. You can tell me what it is, Gyiraszin. Is it people were talking earlier about this like prospect?
Yeah, I think they were supposed to bring up a prospect. I don't know if what
And I don't
ended
think
up
he's
happening,
pitching.
he what, but it sounds like it's just going to be a bullpen game for the Giants.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
he's an opener. He's probably going to go an inning or so. I would assume.
I don't like, regardless, I don't like a game with 60 degrees tonight with either of these two teams. So I don't like
I think that's what kind of goes on to, Michael W. and I were talking a little bit about some Kyle Hendricks here earlier. I mean, this same team, he struck out 8 times in 79 pitches last start. What was it? 5 2/3? Yeah, 5 2/3 innings. So, I mean, man, if I was had him that night on FanDuel and missed him by an out to get that quality start, I probably would have MF'd him up and down. But, I mean, hey, 5,600. We're sitting here. We got a game 60 degrees. We're sitting here looking. We a team he just recently faced, struck out 8 times. I mean, I think it's relevant. I think he's in play here, especially at the price. We're not really, blown away by any pitching today. We feel like we're going to get our butt kicked by our pitching. So if I'm over there, I'm not playing him on FanDuel. Don't get me wrong, but on DK, I like him as an SP2. So I think he's in play. I mean, if I can get 15 points out of a $5,600 pitcher, I think that is some great price per point dollar tonight on what you're going to see across the board. I mean, if I'm guessing, highest scoring pitcher might be in the mid-20s today. So if I can get a mid-teens from Hendricks at almost half the price, or I think it's it could be get you some bats. I mean, you're going to watch some Dodgers today if that's the case, especially if you want to pay for Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. Hunter Brown and Hendricks might be a way to go about getting you some money, but buy up some bats.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how very low owned. You can get expensive bats. You can play them with a Brown, a Ryan. It's not for me, but it makes a lot of sense. And again, 14 could be enough on this slate. That is 1 hour and some change. Talking 12 games, Gyiraszin. Man, what a fun show. Learned a lot of new stuff.
We like to laugh, and Title learned that he could shit in the box and mail it in.
Yeah, learned some new stuff. Not necessarily wanted to know that stuff, but man, laughs are always good. You can always count on that with Gyiraszin. Very fun slate. Outside of Hunter Brown, it's a relatively spread out slate. Definitely go check out our pitcher rankings, hitter rankings, stack rankings. Check out the Shiptimizer. If you're a member, mess around with it. Our projections, our ownership, all loaded in there, updated throughout the night. If you aren't a member, no better time. Hop in, monthly, 6-month annual package. This code SGWC15 gets you 15% off, and it will be done at the end of the week because the Fantasy Golf World Championship is this week. Hoop, Tambo, I believe some members in there as well. Good luck to y'all. Somebody got to take home that million, and Gyirazin's already saying Hoop has the crown before it's already over because he doesn't have to leave Wayne County, as he likes to say. And, of course, shout out our partner, Drafters, sponsoring the show. If you want to get over, draft some best ball at the best ball site out there, drafters.com. It's cumulative scoring. Again, go to the NFL best ball portion in Discord. Check out that video I made. If you have any questions, you can ask. We'll have rankings for it. Show is starting after the 4th of July. Use that promo code SHIPIT. They will match $100 or they'll match $20 to $100, 100%. Give them a Chris Benjamin $100. They will give you a Chris Benjamin in return, $200, $15 contest out there, $2 contest out there. Have fun, enjoy drafting in the streets. Gyiraszin, final show for the people, or final words for the people.
Let's kick some ass tonight, and when we got to keep it. We got to, we might have to tone it down. Title, YouTube might get mad at us, start talking about shitting in boxes, stuff like that.
Who's we got to tone it down?
Oh yeah, that's fine. We like to have fun though. Hey, I'm glad everybody. We just like to laugh, have some fun. Hey, if you can't have fun at what you're doing, you might as well just quit. So, the way I look at it, I like to come on here. I was just telling Tambo the other day, Tyler, I'm like, this year, and I've done all kinds of other things. Other companies was on a sports network, had a show every day. And, man, I have more fun on this show than I think I've ever had. It's just fun. All the guys come out, we like to joke around. We have fun. They kind of got to know, like, our little sayings and stuff. It's just fun. I enjoy it every Tuesday and Wednesday coming on. Best part is we get to come on tomorrow. We got some little day baseball now tomorrow, too, that I saw. So we'll have 2 slates we get to have fun with tomorrow. So make sure you guys check out the slate plan and all that fun stuff here tomorrow. But, yeah, we'll be right back at it. But let's kick some ass tonight, get on top of them tournaments, have us a little Twitter party tonight.
Absolutely. We appreciate that, Michael, Benny, Jason, No Stop, Jake. Absolutely, like you said, though, Gyiraszin, you got to laugh in life. Keep it fun. And this show, like you said, it's all I could laugh at Gyiraszin. You could have nobody watching. I could sit and talk with him for an hour. But y'all in the chat make it even funnier, get his mind going even more, my mind going even more. We appreciate every single one of you. Even if you don't even make any comments out there. If you just hit that like button and you're watching, you support us. We really do appreciate that. Even if you're not a member. If you don't want to get a member, we understand. Not everyone can afford it. It is the cheapest in the industry. Still, you like the YouTube content, you play a couple bucks, whatever. We love having you in here. We love the support. Love the laughs that I get from Gyiraszin. Hopefully, everybody out there, you have a great night. Let's make some money. We'll be back tomorrow as usual. Good luck, everybody. Awesome stuff as always, Gyiraszin. Be safe for Gyiraszin. I'm Titletown. Peace.